I hope we can have a good discussion post the second film. A very brief introduction. It's called jJAAR QABLA Aadhaar, which in Arabic is the neighbor before the house. It's actually a Quranic saying, I think, which goes something like jJAAR QABLA Aadhaar al-Rafiq QABLA al-Tariq, which is consider, the neighbor before the house, the companion before the journey or the destination. It basically is akin to the Judeo-Christian love thy neighbor. Or what do we say? Atiti Devo Bhava, like the guest is it's about the person who's not really anywhere in your space, but is actually really proximate to you. I will give you a brief introduction because I'm not sure if people... Do people need a context to what's happening in Jerusalem? I'll keep it brief. So we were invited to make a project, and as you can see, these could be seen as itinerant artworks, right? As contemporary artists, we often are invited, right? I didn't want to go to Manchester. And to even go to Manchester, I have to do iris scans and biometrics and get that damn visa and get there. So when an art project like this somehow offers you the opportunity as an artist to really, not just get inside a CCTV control room as a non-UK citizen, but then open it up to the locals there, to people who actually walk those streets under those cameras, it's quite an opportunity, and I think that's what Ashok was hinting at in terms of what public art can be, and then what can artists instigate within this public realm. That is a question Camp asks and addresses. It's one of the founding things, right? We look at when we begin a new work. The three questions we sort of had with us was, as I mentioned, how do you make an independent film in Palestine? But more importantly, as itinerant artists or filmmakers from the outside, what could be a sensible filmmaking process that doesn't result in you doing some research, meeting some people, turning on the camera, and then saying, can I make an interview? How does it feel like to be living under occupation? And there will begin the narrative of trauma, the confessions of bare life, and this abjectness which then perpetuates the figure of the victim, not unlike documentaries for us that perpetuate the figure of the poor person as someone just constantly suffering. Now in Camp, we question these things. We question why make artworks that perpetuate these very, very problematic stereotypes that we ourselves, politically at large. You are against the occupation, so why make a film that just deeply affirms that with your visual medium? So this is a gaze, it's a representational question that Camp actually addresses across their works. The second question, I think, which is related, is filmmaking and documentary film is hugely collaborative. Now, how come in that process then that there is always this, the triangle that is the author or the filmmaker or the director or artist, the subjects without which your films are not possible, and the technology, which essentially in the first phase is a camera, later it's a scissor or an editing software, and then it's a projector. How come these things are so compartmentalized and cannot be fluid? So Camp tries to trouble this and make the relationship between the subjects and the author, the subjects and the camera and the subjects and the director. We try to trouble this triangle in many ways. So what you will see in some ways is inspired by earlier works at Camp, but also from that time in the CCTV control room in the UK. So a camera was purchased in London for £350, a very generic dome Pantone zoom camera. It actually looks like that light fixture. If you saw, you see these domes in airports and in malls and stuff. Like a colleague of ours who was working with us at Camp on the project, when she saw the camera, she said, "Oh, this! I always thought it was a light that's not working." But it's these dome cameras, and they're called PTZ, pan, tilt, zoom. And you saw Steve and Joe, they would press camera 31 and then pan, tilt, and zoom it. So we took a camera like that to Jerusalem, and the entire film has been filmed not by us, but by 8 different Palestinian families through such pan-tilt zoom CCTV cameras that were installed on their homes. A friend of ours called it like the house becomes a support structure. It becomes a tripod made of stones. So the camera was housed by them in a position of vantage, often on their roofs. In the case of some houses where they were recently evicted from their homes, they're actually watching from, as in protest from a tent outside their own houses. So that in those cases, the camera was put on a neighbor's roof. And the video feed was sent to their television sets, so they're in the privacy and comfort and safety of their homes or their tents or whatever the situation was. And they are controlling pan-tilt zoom, they're controlling this camera, which already is in this panopticon high position. And of course, how that is countered by Israel's, extremely perversive, what's called three-dimensional warfare or three-dimensional surveillance of Palestinians. I mean, the inversion of surveillance here is quite obvious. But they're filming live, and sometimes they are looking at something and the commentary follows. Sometimes the commentary leads to the image, but there is live commentary that was then taped and married to the film. It's 8 different families. Just like CCTV Social had 36 different people come in, here we worked over days with 8 different families. You'll see their sequences come in and out. And it was edited 2 years later into the feature film that you'll see. Enjoy it.
هلا هذه كانت زي ما نقول حارة المغاربة في 67. الإسرائيليين بدأت الحرب ب5 حزيران، كان يوم الاثنين، ودخلوا على البلد القديمة يوم الأربعاء بإقصاء اللي كانوا ساكنين قريب جدا من الحائط، ما يسمى حائط البراق أو حائط المكة. أعطوهم مدة 2 ساعات وأخلوهم. بعد 2 ساعات أخلوهم، وبدأوا بالجرافات بجرف